I think exactly what they're thinking is what you're alluding to, uh, Cram, is they're gonna go and say, Nick, they probably did it yesterday. Nick, you're firing Kevin Patullo because regardless of whose fault it is and if he's your best friend, we're bringing in a Vic Fangio type to run the offense. It's not your offense anymore. Sorry, we gave you the best roster in football. You're not doing this anymore. You're going to be the CEO, head coach, the locker room guy, the character guy, the go for it on fourth down guy, the guts and feel of the locker room guy, and get that locker room back in order. And we're bringing in an outside offensive guy, and it's going to be his show. And if you intervene, you're gone. I mean, Nick's also interviewing you, and Nick. I mean, they did it with Doug, and Doug said, "Fuck off."
So we're back inside the bird's nest. Post-mortem episode. Eagles lose to the depleted 49ers 23-19. It was ugly. People are blaming coaches. People are blaming players. Just a sad day a few days ago. Actually, Patula is gone. Big Apple, your thoughts?
I got many.
Spit 'em.
I'll keep it brief to start. I was down there. I think there's seems to be two schools of thought to start off, and you think you hit it at the top here. It's either the coaches or the players, and who's to blame. I think for this one, for this particular game, if we're just talking about the playoff game, I think it's clear as day. It's you got to give the majority, if not all of it, to the players. I think they completely underperformed. They didn't show up.
Agree.
I thought I mean, let's talk on the defensive side of the ball. Like, fine, 24 whatever points. They could have been better. I think Kyle Shanahan coached a great game, putting players in conflict on our defensive side of the ball. Some of our all pro players look like all shit players to start. And Quinyon made a good recovery with the 2 interceptions, but he got toasted on the first touchdown. Zach Bond had a terrible game. I thought that side of the ball was fine, B plus. They could have won the game with that performance. The offensive side of the ball, there's no excuses. Across the board, they were absolutely horrible. They could run the ball in the first half. They looked good. They scored touchdowns on the first 2 of 3 drives, and then nothing. Same as the rest of the season. So, I mean, I think we're probably going to get into the coaching towards the end of this conversation. But I think to start off the bat, I mean, you have your perennial all-star type players dropping passes, unacceptable, completely unacceptable. Not even laying out for a pass is unacceptable. I mean, you got guys on that are coming off the streets like Demarcus Robinson for the Niners laying his body on the line to make plays, and they wanted it more, and it showed in the game. And we still should have won, which is just goes to show the lack of effort from our guys. I think it was complete complacency. I thought they probably thought they could walk through that game and maybe pull it together in Chicago or whatever the heck happened, and they got pantsed. I mean, I have plenty of other thoughts, but I'll pause there and let other people get some words in.
Chip or Big Chip, who do you blame?
I've been on the players basically all season for a lot of the points. I think that this game was no different than what we saw all season. The only difference was the defense played a little bit less good. They weren't as good this game, and that was the difference in the game.
Why
Usually
is that?
19 points would
Why?
have.
Why is that? Fangio? I mean,
Well, but, I mean,
you're at home. Why can't you get up and get jacked? And I don't know.
I I think that I'm going to go back to our first pot of the season. And this is not the reason we lost yesterday, but they didn't bench Jalen Carter after he was a bonehead the first game. They didn't get on AJ Brown after he was doing all these deviant things, the whole thing. These things make a difference in a football team, the ultimate team sport. You have to lay down the law, you have to show discipline, and you have to show that no one person is above the team. And that's what they didn't do all year. I mean, Sirianni's player first mentality works sometimes, but other times you got to lay down the hammer. And I don't think he did that well enough this year. And I don't think he had the guys ready to play.
Hmm.
But at the
With
end of the day, it rests on the guys making AJ Browns of the world, making millions of dollars to lay out for balls or to actually block when you're not getting the ball. And he didn't do that clearly.
horrible.
So he's one. And then Jalen Carter, where has he been all season? He had one good game. This guy is supposed to get paid this offseason. I think it's going to be a mistake to pay him. I mean, he only if he's not going to show up half the time. The defensive line was the biggest disappointment that there was Sunday compared to what they were the rest of the season, and I think that's the reason why you lost.
Wizard, do you concur?
No.
Boom.
Respectfully, I agree that the players didn't show up, but I have recently of the mentality that coaching, like football, is a coach sport. Basketball, hockey, it's a little more live action. Players make plays. You can make up lack of effort if you have a solid coaching scheme and game plan. And as I said in the beginning, well, I didn't say in the first pod, but maybe in the middle, our offensive coordinator is atrocious. The play calling, I watched a lot of stuff on X or Twitter, like the past couple of days of just like people breaking down stuff, and it's incredible how basic. And I don't know how to call plays, but I know that if you tell two receivers to go out 10 yards and crisscross, it's a lot harder to cover them than if you just have them run go routes or if you have them go and do a hitch route. Like this is stuff that I feel like I've learned a lot on just in the past couple of days. And you see that on the side of the ball. I mean, even in college, like with some of the teams that have turned around, obviously Indiana being the best example, coaching schemes, it can take you so far. And I truly think, I agree, the players probably didn't show up as much, but maybe their lack of motivation, and back to what Chip was saying, is like it's just been the story all season. Like lackluster coaching effort. Like the players weren't hyped to run the offense. Defense had good things going. I'm not sure what happened with the D line. That's a good point. But I mean the offense just being so lackadaisical and basic. Yeah, I wanted to like rip my hair out. And I don't know KP as a person, obviously, no nothing personal there. But I'm so happy that we have someone new. But we'll talk about this later. I'm also a little nervous because I think, based on what I've read, Sirianni, this is kind of his offensive thing as well. So we might not be out of the woods yet.
Yeah. So Big Cannon, I'm hearing a lot of the team wasn't ready. Coaching, I mean, too soft? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the game was a microcosm of all the issues that we had all year long, honestly, on offense. You had, AJ not pulling down any of those go balls, right? Any of those big plays could have swung this game. Honestly, the difference in the game was that Shanahan had the trick play, right, where he had Juwan Jennings getting that touchdown pass to Christian McCaffrey, and the Birds didn't have any sort of razzle-dazzle. They had none of those big plays worked out for them. So on that, I will say that is, right, you would want Patullo to have, especially kind of on maybe some of those fourth quarter drives there, something to try to scheme something open or some sort of big play there. So I will put that on him. AJ was completely, it was disgusting, honestly. His performance in this game, his attitude on the sideline. Sirianni was yelling at him to get off the field so we didn't get called for too many men on the field there, and he just comes over and gets right in his face. That'll be an interest. That's a whole separate discussion there. But look, Sirianni's philosophy, and this has been his philosophy since day one. If you go back and look at or re-listen to his very first press conference, he is someone that believes in coaching the fundamentals, right? And doing the simple things excellently, and that talent wins out, right? So when you're put into when your players are performing very, very well, that style of coaching can work. And honestly, we won a Super Bowl with that style of coaching. When your players are not performing well, that's where I think you need some sort of spark from the coaching. Because honestly, I know that the defense didn't have one of their better games, but up until that touchdown pass in the fourth quarter, right, they were kind of handling it. And like Kyle Shanahan is one of the top three best offensive schemers in the league. We knew that was going to be the chess match. You can't expect Fangio to shut down everyone all season. there's going to have to be games where this offense was going to have to come out here and perform. And so, yeah, I mean, I do think the players just played very poorly in this game. Really, AJ is who I think played the most poorly here. But, I mean, I hate to say it's kind of both, but it is, right? You needed Patullo to have something here to kind of give a spark for this offense, and he just simply could not do it. And he couldn't do it all season. So
let me throw it out to everyone. Has Sirianni lost the team?
No.
I'm hearing all kind of like.
I mean, wouldn't be surprised.
Not disciplining the players
without being in the locker room.
Yeah.
I think a few mistakes were made. Chip mentioned one of them, and not disciplining Jalen Carter. I do think letting the AJ Brown play saga now, doing a little revisionist history, was a mistake for this season, particularly.
You talking about reading a book on the sideline too?
No, I'm talking about the stuff that he did this season.
Okay.
I think AJ is not meant to be in this city anymore, and that's fine. I think he's still a good person. I think he's still loved in the locker room from the player perspective, but it's a distraction and it dragged the team down. I mean, that's just the bottom line, and you could see it. And I think that was partially Howie's fault for not trying to maximize his value mid-season. I mean, he's not going to be on the team next year. I want to convince myself that he's going to be here and everything's going to be worked out, but I don't think he will be.
Really?
It just doesn't seem that way.
It's a big cap hit.
It doesn't matter. It's the Eagles the numbers matter, and I get the cap hit. It is a lot easier to keep the players than the coaches, which is clearly we made the first chess move there in terms of money. But he's just, I mean, it's just Howie is not one to sit and let mistakes happen over and over again. He's never going to repeat those same mistakes from the 17 to 18, paying guys who were cooked or keeping, that they were all there for the TO stuff. I mean, it's not good. So, we could talk about AJ all night, but
so you think the team is better without AJ next year? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone agree with that? I mean,
I think if you get a new coordinator, you could salvage the relationship.
Silly. No, because the locker room's got. I mean, that whole relationship is what's giving. You don't want contention in the locker room, and it sounds like that he is the focal point of that, and he's a very liked guy there. And give AJ what he wants. He doesn't want to be here. Bring him in saying, "Hey, we're hiring Mike McDaniel. Do you want to be here?" He's going to tell you no.
Really?
I can't get a read on if he's a distraction. It seems like, but like, who is he mad at? Is he mad at Jalen? Is he mad at Patullo? Is he mad that he's not getting touches? Because even after the Super Bowl, he was a stat guy. I just wish it was more clear on what's causing the ruckus, and if it was the OC because the offense is basic, maybe we've solved that problem and he's going to change his ways. I mean, I do think it's an adjustment.
I mean, if I'm speaking for him, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I mean, the scheme is horrible. It's one of the worst schemes that they put out on, film all season. And I think it doesn't serve a guy like him well. And I think he's also dealing with a quarterback who has his limitations. And we could talk about Jalen. I'm sure we'll get to it.
He's a little too calm for me, Jalen. I mean, I know he's a calm guy, but I heard like an interview afterward, and I don't want to read too much into it, but he's, we didn't get it done, and we got to do it next year. I don't know. Maybe that's his personality. I need something more. Too casual of a loss,
My also, I mean, we just won the Super Bowl 11 months ago. I think we all got to keep that in our mind. But
sure.
In terms of these guys, and the thing with Jalen is, I'll get to in a second. But AJ, I think, is also, to answer Cram's question. I think he's looking at himself and he's a little frustrated. He's not as explosive. It's clear on film he's not as explosive as he was 2 years ago. And I think it's a combination of a lot of frustration with a bad scheme, a quarterback who maybe not be willing to get him the ball on every play like 2 or 3 years ago, and his lack of athleticism at 2 years later. And I think it's culminating in a really not a great performance. And before he really tarnishes the legacy in this town, he needs to move on.
He's cooked. Big wide receivers like that, they just don't have long lives in the NFL. He's
Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah, Alshon Jeffrey, even like a Gronk type, they just don't last. Like big physical receivers like that. He lost his step and he's not the same player. So get him out when you still can get something for him.
Mm.
I think Jalen's limitations are clearly the problem with the offense. I like maybe plays
Well,
here and
why
there,
all
but
of a
for
sudden
5 years,
it wasn't a limitation last year, though? I mean, what's
when
Well,
it,
last year
Let
they
him go. What limitations, Jeff? I want to hear.
when you have the best offensive line in the league and you can establish the run, he makes the plays and he can play conservatively. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's great. And when he can make first downs with his feet and all that good stuff. We also were 97% on the tush push last year, so we were playing first and 8 every downs basically. Um, so like all of those things, yeah, you won the Super Bowl, but like watching Tom Brady call 3 of our games this year, he points out all of the mistakes. I mean, it's like people don't like him as a commentator. I'm like,
I like
from
him.
the quarterback's perspective, he can't see over his lineman. He can't throw the ball across the field. He bails out of the pocket too early. He's not on time with any of his throws. He has to see it before instead of believing it. And like all of those are limitations for an offense, and that's why it's all simple. It's been simple for 5 years, and we've had the best. Nick Sirianni has had the best winning percentage of the all time, I think, to date, like for a start of his career. So
He left the
I just-
pocket like every play that last game. I even noticed that. I was like, what are you doing?
I think that maybe Patullo's one of his cardinal sins this year is Jalen had the fewest design runs of any year that he's been the QB of the Birds here. And I think that those design runs set up a lot for him, right? I agree with you. He's not like your traditional pocket passer type of player, right? He's not going to just be able to stand back there and just, carve you up with anticipatory throws. I think that people thought like, oh, when we get to the postseason, they're going to unlock him as, including myself. I think I said on the pod, oh, they're going to run Jalen in this game a lot, and it just didn't happen. And I feel like that is something that, especially you saw in all of the postseason runs, opens up a lot for the offense when you have to account for him in the run game. Makes his life easier by doing some of those things. Now, there's rumors that Jalen's
Maybe
the one
he doesn't
who
want to
says
run.
he doesn't want to run. Which, if that's
Right.
the case,
I mean,
you got to put it on him.
No.
But
I think I've been thinking of the Jalen thing for a while because I've been a Jalen supporter and a defender,
I like
and
him.
I think two things can be true at the same time. I think the scheme is poor, is very bad. I think the coaching is bad. I think they haven't brought him to the next level. I mean, Jalen from year 1 to year 2 to now is a lot better than he was. Is he a Joe Burrow, this pocket passer? Absolutely not. He's a very good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. And I think the scheme didn't serve him well at all. I think he has to be dynamic to be great. He has to be. And that means RPOs, running the ball, moving the pocket, getting out and running and hitting his first or second, third read as what he feels and in a rhythm. And this clunky vanilla scheme is probably the worst thing that could possibly run for him. So I think the priority for the offseason is you got to get someone that's going to coach him hard. And I think Jalen will admit this, he has to eat a big heaping of humble pie this year. I think the Super Bowl championship, the performance in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, a little bit went to his head. He thought for a minute that he was a Patrick Mahomes caliber type guy running an offense, and he's not. He just isn't. And I wrote a quote down. I think Kurt Warner said it today that it's more important than knowing who you are is knowing what you're not. And Jalen has to realize what he's not in order to be successful. And I think this offseason, I'm sure we'll come to this conversation, but now it's on my tongue. I think this was probably a blessing. Obviously I don't think we were going to win the Super Bowl this year. Maybe. I mean, I said in the pod last week, I would not be surprised if we did, not be surprised if we got spanked.
I remember that.
The opportunity to really identify from the Eagles organization perspective, bring somebody in who's actually going to make an impact. And I saw their 2 top candidates are Brian Dabble and Mike McDaniel, which Mike McDaniel will be great. And you have to put Jalen in that pressure cooker to perform under one of those guys' schemes. And if he doesn't perform, we don't have to extend him and we get out from Jalen. He's gone. He was never drafted to be the QB1 of this franchise. People forget that. And he was developed to this point. He was drafted to be a backup, and that was admitted. And Nick Sirianni came in here to develop Carson Wentz. That was when he was hired for the job. And that was the whole thing. He said, I'm going to take Carson Wentz to this next level. He never selected Jalen as his quarterback. So Jalen has all the opportunity in the world to eat some humble pie, become that dynamic dual threat guy again. And he doesn't have to run all the time. It's what Jalen was great at, which was choice runs in the right moment that really opened the game up. And they got to get back to an RPO scheme with some bells and whistles in order to get some chunk plays down the field. And I think it'll help everyone out. And we haven't even talked about the O-line yet. They're terrible. That was the worst season of O-line football I've seen since we had Winston Swiftfeet Justice playing on the offensive line for the Eagles. It was terrible.
Though, right? Injuries.
Maybe.
There are always injuries, though. I think that we fell into some of the mistakes. I guess hindsight's 2020. But Dickerson and Jurgens should be ashamed of their play this year. You should have gotten your surgeries in the beginning of the year rather than felt that on the. They're whiffing on blocks. There's no excuse to whiff on a block because of a injury, and they did it all year, and it's a shame. Because
Jurgens had one of the worst tapes I've ever seen.
He's horrible. He's horrible. I actually don't want him on the team next year.
Well,
that's the worst center play I've ever seen in an Eagles uniform. And I think he's a Pro Bowler, which just shows you what those awards mean.
I think there's a serious conversation to be had in terms of upgrading 3 to 4 of the linemen on the offensive line. I mean, the only one who had a decent season was Mailata, and he wasn't even that good. I think there's some parallels to Brandon Brooks, who was an All-Pro, who all of a sudden came back after a couple injuries and was a bum, like a true bum. And you don't know, like Dickerson has had multiple knee surgeries. Out of college, he was very injury prone. The body gets wear and tear. And, we think that we're going to have Lane Johnson's every guy we draft. It's not, that's the exception, not the rule. True. And then Lane's another one. I don't know if we can count on him. And that hurt, I think, from a morale standpoint going into the San Fran game when all week everyone said Lane's back, Lane's back, Lane's back. And he's such a dominant force. I talked about this on 2 or 3 pods ago. It opens up the entire run game because he can one-on-one block every day. He doesn't need help. And the pass game too. And him not having coming back, and I actually think Fred Johnson did a decent job, but it's not like it was his fault. It's a morale thing. When you're Hall of Fame gold jacket guys coming back for a playoff game to go for another Super Bowl run and it just falls short, it's a tough pill.
And we forgot about, or not forgot about, but no one's mentioned Barkley. Offensive line, not giving him holes.
I think he had a lot of wear and tear on his body too. He could say all he wants that he didn't have a lot of carries last year and it didn't affect his game. It totally did. I mean, he had the most touches of, any running back in the last whatever years, and it was a Hall of Fame season. Listen, go ahead.
Saquon has some juice left, though. I mean, he was getting tackled in the backfield most of his runs. You can't.
But there are some.
He's still gonna have a great career. He's not done.
Yeah. But I just real quick. That is the biggest concern moving forward is the offensive line. You have to fill 4 holes realistically. Steen is not going to be a long time guy. Like he's fine. He's a replacement guy. You got to replace the right tackle. Lane is not going to be consistently there. And the center is one of the worst in the league. You have 4 holes to fill. And that's a huge gap. We don't have guys waiting in the wings. Like it's an area we did not prioritize because we assumed these guys were going to be here. Dickerson's done. I'm trying to wrap my head around it now, and I think everyone else should. He's done. You don't come back from all the knee surgeries he has and the back stuff and be
the back is not good.
Like we've seen this before. Brandon Brooks is a perfect example. Sean Andrews is another one. Like this goes back in history. Guard is a hard position, a physical position to play. You can't he's going to be cooked.
I think he kind of alluded to, like he was like, I don't know if I think someone asked him like,
he
get
back
to
to
100%. He was like, recently. I don't know.
Well, that'll be a problem because then we have a Joe Burrow situation where even if you have Joe Burrow, you get nothing done because your line is trash.
Is Fangio off the hook?
We got to give Jurgens.
Fangio's fine.
Yeah,
he had a unit this year that could have won a Super Bowl easily. They were top 5 unit towards the end of the year. They were top 2 unit by the end of the year.
The only problem, 1917, you're up, you give the ball back to your defense, and the 49ers shoved it down our throats. It was one drive, but it was disappointing because that was our hallmark the entire year. Like we stood up and we got those stops, but they just ran it down our throats, and it was
They
an upsetting drive.
they wanted it more. They seem more
They
fired
did.
up.
They did.
So I mean, why the coaching? I go back to the coach is the one who's got to get you. Not the I don't know. It's just
I mean, that's a
they're
need.
at home. They're at home.
No, they took. I think a lot like the same comment I made about Jalen. I think a lot of the team. I think I have it written down in my notes here. A lot of complacency across the board. I mean, it was complacency in the coaching staff. It was complacency in the offense. It was complacency the entire thing. Maybe even Howie was complacent. I thought. I mean, where was what's his name? Our big acquisition, Phillips. He didn't make a play in the last 5 weeks. Not
Yeah.
not a damn play. We had zero pass rush against one of the a guy with a half a hamstring and a banged up offensive line, and it was disappointing. Chip hit it earlier. I know I said in the pod last time. I thought the interior D lineman was going to be able to make a push. We had one sack. There was a couple of holds, but regardless, we should have been doing what we did to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, and we need to. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about next year's issues, but I mean, D line and a real edge, a true. I think this is where maybe my hot take for the offseason is if Howie tries to make a splash, a true, that type of gold jacket type Hollywood big paid edge rusher is what the
Miles
Eagles
Garrett, revisit it.
need. We tried.
Or Crosby.
Any of those guys would type. Maybe Steelers are going to dish in TJ.
Oh man, the Steelers.
I'll take any of those guys. AJ's
I
on the
think
block.
I think we're sick of not having a pass rush. I think it's eating everyone inside that building alive.
Yeah.
Nolan Smith did get held on that McCaffrey touchdown blatantly,
Absolutely.
and I don't understand why people didn't talk about it more.
I mean,
But-
Elliott missing the extra point. As soon as he missed that extra point, I said, "That's going to haunt us."
That's gutting in the game. And that's another. I think we need to talk about a position that we might need to upgrade.
Really.
Kicker,
No,
yeah.
he's out. He's out.
Well, easier said than done on a lot of these. It's like who is going to replace them. So I mean, it's hard to find a kicker. You got teams that run through 3 or 4 kickers. I wish we could have Dicker the kicker back. That guy's 89, 90% success rate or whatever it is. Most accurate kicker in the history of whatever NFL.
Yeah, you don't want to get stuck with another Cody Parkey or whatever.
No.
Hmm.
So I think they might carry Jake into next season or let him compete it out in camp, but don't draft a guy. See if someone's off the street that's worthwhile, but it's disappointing.
So what is what's the fix there, Big Cannon? What's the fix?
For just everything in general.
And I mean, what's the number one? I mean, it's kind of
So, I would say this,
But, I
I
mean, in
mean-
general, what needs to be? Obviously, the O line needs some help. You can't just fill every hole.
Yeah. Well,
with
here's
all-stars.
my thought on it is, I mean, again, we just won the Super Bowl last year. It is extremely hard to repeat because
Yeah.
it's human nature. Like, if you just and the NFL is stone cold, right? If you let up a little bit, like kind of this game, right? The Niners just wanted it more, even
That's
though they
what
were
I'm saying.
far less talented, right? And just that little bit of juice, right? If you guys, I think Fangio's actually talked about this when he talked about like why is Brandon Graham still competing at a high level? I think Fangio was like he still has his stinger. He still is willing to go out here and lay on some big hits and get beat up. And I think that like Juergens and Dickerson, I kind of think they lost their stinger throughout the year with these injuries. I actually want to give Juergens another year. I think he was very good last year. I mean, we lost Kelsey and then we won the Super Bowl. I agree with Dickerson. I don't know. That seems like we have to get that replaced. I think the biggest thing is the offensive coordinator. If they go with McDaniel, that is going to be a massive type of offensive change. Jalen has never played the way that Mike McDaniel coaches the quarterback position. Mike McDaniel throws in the middle of the field. Like I think I saw something where it's like 38% of the pass plays target the middle of the field. Jalen's career high is like 8% throwing the middle of the field. Tua ran like 3 times more under center play action than Jalen did this past year. So would completely, and by the way, expects his quarterback to play with great anticipation, right? Make the right read. It would, if Mike McDaniel comes in here and is the OC, I think that is indicating that the Birds are trying to evaluate their quarterback a little bit.
I mean, they should be.
And I think, Mike McDaniel's, out of all the candidates that are out there, he's definitely the best offensive mind. It wasn't that long ago that we watched him put up 70 points, right, with the Dolphins. So that's very interesting. I think that, I think that there's like the Brian Daboll. That seems crazy to me to have Daboll and Sirianni on the sideline together. I'm like, that is just like hothead central there.
Daboll coached him at Alabama.
Yes, and loves him. So has actually apparently he's the person who talked to Sirianni first about Jalen and talked about his great composure and his presence. So that would be very much like, I think the Daboll pick would be more in line with like, let's get someone in here that Jalen feels pretty comfortable working with.
Well, we did that with Brian Johnson. It didn't work. So,
well, Brian Johnson was also like an internal type guy. Daboll at least has, he has had success at OC, developing Josh Allen. Brian Johnson never had like an opportunity like that. This is my hot take for coordinator, which won't happen, but this is what I think would be. I just think this would be great in so many ways. You bring in big balls, Dougie P. You bring back Doug Peterson. You're not going to have the, it's like similar to the Fangio thing. Fangio is not going to go leave to be a head coach in a year where you're back in the same spot. What was the big issue with the offensive play calling this year is it was way too conservative. Doug Peterson had his backup QB in the Super Bowl, throws a flea flicker touchdown, obviously does the Philly special, is just someone that calls big time plays, is not afraid to go out there and call some of those plays. Is the guy that benched Wentz and put Hurts in, right? Like, we got to see what we have with Hurts. So obviously Philly, is just obviously
the return of the P.
That's obviously, it wouldn't happen. Yeah. I actually think that that's kind of the type of coach that maybe you
it's just Frank Reich. Like, that's that realistic option.
Well, Frank Reich is true. It's a similar type of deal here.
I just want to know, just a side comment on that, like everyone in the city of Philly, even the NFL, is talking about this. But like, what are like Lori and Roseman, like Howie, like how are they thinking about this? Because I think that I'm interested to see who they pick to reveal like their thought process. Yeah, they're going to test Jalen. We're going to get another yes man. Because you remember Dougie P. I don't think they had a good separation because he didn't agree with what they were trying to tell him to do. And so,
yeah, they told him to fire. They told him to fire coordinator, and he said no. And basically, I don't know what they said. Basically, I think part of it was probably the Wentz thing too. He didn't really want to work with Carson anymore because the guy was not willing to change. I think exactly what they're thinking is what you're alluding to, Cram, is they're going to go and say, Nick, they probably did it yesterday. Nick, you're firing Kevin Patullo because regardless of whose fault it is and if he's your best friend, we're bringing in a Vic Fangio type to run the offense. It's not your offense anymore. Sorry, we gave you the best roster in football. You're not doing this anymore. You're going to be the CEO, head coach, the locker room guy, the character guy, the go for it on fourth down guy, the guts and feel of the locker room guy, and get that locker room back in order. And we're bringing in an outside offensive guy, and it's going to be his show. And if you intervene, you're gone. I mean, Nick's also interviewing you. And Nick, they did it with Doug, and Doug said, fuck off. And they fired him that day. I mean, the people who run the show in that organization are Howie Roseman and Jeff Lurie, obviously is the owner, but not every owner is that. And they invested a lot of money into the players, and Howie Roseman runs the show, and they want to win. This is the difference, and this is the other thing I wrote down, is the standard now is different in the city of Philadelphia. It isn't just get to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl and everyone's happy. We won 2 Super Bowls in 5 years, and we've been to 3 in 5 years, or whatever it was, 6 years.
And
Do it,
everyone's
Ace.
pissed.
And everyone's pissed. And the standard has changed. We've moved up into that upper echelon of franchises like the Patriots, like the Kansas City Chiefs, the Steelers back in the day, but they fell off. That type of franchise. And the key in those things, and I was thinking about what makes the Chiefs great, besides obviously Patrick Mahomes, it's continuity on the coordinators is actually hugely helpful. And Spags has been with Andy for forever. And that helps on the defensive side of the ball, and you can and he's a good coach. You trust him. You don't have to think about the other side of the ball. And Andy runs the show on the offense, but had Eric Bieniemy for a while. Josh McDaniels still in the Patriots organization. He's been the OC in and out of that organization for years for these runs. And I think Andrew's right. You got to find that guy. And if it's someone who might not be a head coach in the next couple of years, I don't know if Mike McDaniel's is going to get another look. That Miami thing did not go well. But the Doug Peterson thought is great. I just don't think Doug's the guy.
What's more important?
Why not Frank Reich then?
I think Frank Reich's a great option.
Yeah, I think he's the only one that makes sense because if Mike McDaniel comes here and lights up the sky again, he's going to get a head coaching job. Like, we win the Super Bowl with the best offense in the league. But I think we have to just think about getting the right guy, not worry about the long-term effects of like whether he's going to stay or not. It's easy to get to the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Like, it's not easy to have the best offense in the league. So if you can get that guy for 1 year, I'm taking the guy for 1 year.
I don't disagree.
What's more important, the OC or AJ replacement?
AJ, you could get a guy off the
Tom
street
Brady
for that
had
performance.
no wide receivers. Tom Brady had 5'8" Wes Welker and J.J. Edelman. If you have a good coach, you'll be fine.
Well, plus it's Brady. I mean, people don't like him, but he was good.
Well, I think the bigger, we have to somehow convince Dallas Goedert to come here for a cheap deal for a year. I would love to have him another year.
He didn't block this year either, though.
We need to upgrade Calcaterra. I mean, that's.
I've been calling for his head for 4 years. However,
that's Patullo's fault. He put that guy in the worst possible position to succeed, and that is coaching. You can't say that's a player. That's like saying, Andrew, you're going to go out there and block
off the field.
Big cannon.
Yeah,
Calcaterra is the worst blocking tight end I've ever seen at any level. He's horrible.
I think I don't think you can be in a position on the Eagles offense for continuity perspective with Jalen and the quarterback to lose Goddard and AJ. I think you got to try to keep one, and it's not.
Goddard was a liability this year blocking too. Like, they all were horrible. That's why I want to give Patullo the benefit of the doubt a little bit. They had no push at all. They were not the physical offense. They did not out physical anyone this year.
No, but if you realize you don't have blocking tight ends, then like run a different scheme. Like, that's what I'm saying is like you line them up 4 wide every time and shotgun. Like, I don't know. I don't know football plays like that, but you can get around that. They just ran the same stuff and expected it to work.
We returned
last year. They were a victim of their success to a certain degree.
Agreed.
We returned 10 of our 11 offensive starters from last year, and I think our points per game went down by like on average 7 points. That can't all be on just all the players played worse. Like, if that happens, you have to look at the offensive coordinator there for such a like.
I think everything's true at the same time, and I mean, if we're gonna get percentage blames, who knows? But I just think next year I would hate to see Dallas Goedert walk out the door. I just would.
He had 11 touchdowns this year. He was like the only bright spot in the receiving.
He had 2 in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a top 5 tight end. Like, he's not. I'm not saying he's Kittle, but he's good.
I do think we're going to have to start moving on for some of these institutional guys in the offense. This offense has been more or less the same for 4 years now. And there's a little bit of the 2017 issue where we just kept running back the same all-star. You kind of got to liven it up sometimes and get some new pieces in to keep it fresh as well.
Sounds like a lot of stuff has to happen. I mean, obviously, you got the O-line, the AJ situation, OC. A lot of stuff's going to happen by the time next year rolls around.
I think it's fine in a loss. Everything looks terrible. Take a step back. We won the Super Bowl 11 months ago. If push comes to shove, we had a run, no personnel changes at all. Like, we're still going to have one of the best rosters in football next year. And we just need, I truly think if we just had a scheme that was 5% better, we probably in the NFC Championship game.
My
Like,
concern was, I mean, I keep going back to it's a home game. They rested their players and they came out flat. They didn't have the
I don't think they
juice.
came out flat. I think they
Frisco wanted it. You could see it.
well, that's different. That's hunger for the whole game. I mean, we scored 2 touchdowns in the first 3 drives. I thought
we
that
were
was
good in the first half. There was something happened at halftime. And yeah, San Francisco, I mean, we've beaten them before. You know, Christian McCaffrey doesn't have a Super Bowl. Like, they do want it more.
That's all they had. It was
Facts.
Mr. McCaffrey.
No.
It was like
I thought they punched us in the face the whole game.
one man machine. Yeah.
We turned them over twice and we lost the game still. It was a bad performance up and down, I thought.
Let's fast forward then. Let's go around the horn. Start with you, Big Cannon. Who at this point do you think wins the Super Bowl this year?
God, you know, I was actually thinking about this earlier.
Not who you want to win. Not who you want to win.
No,
Who
yeah,
you think will win.
I mean, all teams that I think have like flaws. It's a very interesting year. I mean, you could make a case for all of these teams. Maybe you don't make the case for maybe the San Francisco's the hardest case. I would say the Seahawks. That's who I would, out of the teams left, that's who I would plant my flag on. But I fully think that Sam Darnold could lay a major goose egg at any moment. He could go.
He could do a Herbert. You called it.
You
could do a Justin Herbert.
That's right. Yep.
Well, Mark, who do you think?
Well, you know I love Josh Allen, so if they beat the Broncos, there's like a little destiny situation going on there. So I think they could. This is the year. If there ever was a year for them to make their way through, if they can beat the Broncos, this could be it. On the same token, the Texans' defense looked, and Chipper's a big fan. They looked unstoppable. If they could do that,
they killed my
Steelers. Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's the Steelers, but if they could do something similar to the Patriots and Drake May, I am staying away from them. That is scary.
Big Apple called it the dog walk. I mean, we were good for a half. They didn't walk the dog till the second half, but oh man, it was
CJ Stroud was trying to get walked, but he
bad. Sirianni starts out slow, gets fired. In comes Tomlin. The standard.
Standards.
The standard.
I also, side note before we pass it, like the Bears are a crazy story. I think Ben Johnson's like crazy. Like he's a coach. He'll just do whatever it takes, and I think he pisses people off with some of that stuff. But
yeah, too much.
See them. You know, Caleb Williams is a freak athlete. He's young. He's got that.
Who you picking?
Big plays like that. I'm picking the Bills.
Picking the
Texans,
Bills.
But I'm saying wild card Bears. Don't be surprised.
That's 3 picks. You're out of control. You're all over FanDuel. That's your problem. You're FanDuel.
I got the Rams, the Hawks, the Niners, the Bills.
Who do you have, Chip? What do you think?
I got
if
the
you had
Texans.
to bet the house.
CJ Stroud I'm going with that defense. I can't get my head around Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, like both having to get double and triple teamed on both sides. Like the math doesn't work out. Their pass rush is incredible. Their secondary is incredible. I'm in love with that defense, honestly.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Stroud is
taking my bias away. I knew they were a better defense than even our Eagles defense, who I was very high on this entire year.
Yeah.
Stroud's a problem though, but I think the defense might win this at the end. So my pick is I'm going to take the Texans over the Hawks in the Super Bowl.
Wow. Hot take. Big Apple. Currently.
I think in the Super Bowl,
if you have
I'm going to take it's just to be different. I'll say the Rams over Texans. I'll say Rams over Texans.
All right. Okay.
I hope we get it would be I think most hilarious matchup would be Seahawks Texans, where you have both of those semi-fraud QBs against these awesome defenses. And I think it'd just be
it's just the
Super Bowl.
Just the absolute
back to like Super Bowl 15. It's great. Just trading punts.
A battle.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
We'd have the Super Bowl MVP would be like, a linebacker or defensive end or something crazy. Like I feel like that would be the funniest matchup.
It's
Well,
kind of how the NFL's been this year, though. It's kind of like a blast to the past. It's like old school football. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any favorite. I mean, part of me wants the Texans, but not after they spank my Steelers. And I got to get a week into it or something, or maybe see what happens against New England.
Who's your
I don't
daddy?
want New England either. So I'm pulling for the Texans, but
I like the Patriots. They're a year too early. I can't see them doing it to that Texans defense. I mean, God,
yeah. They played a soft schedule, supposedly. I mean, not that I follow
very
them,
soft
but, yeah.
schedule.
So
Same with the Niners, and I'm putting the Eagles on that list in terms of soft teams they walked into this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Niners have an easy schedule. Patriots' schedule was ridiculously easy. Like, ridiculously easy.
That's why I think the Texans are going to spank them.
I agree.
Drake May hasn't seen a defense like this.
The Swarm.
Not one of my walks, but I like it.
All right. The dog walk. Yeah.
Speaking of one dog walk, we're going to have a dog walk in the college football championship game, too. With the juggernaut
who are you taking?
The juggernaut that's in Bloomington. Indiana is a force. I'm full on the Signetti and Mendoza train.
You think they're hacking? You think they look too good? You think they're hacking the plays on the other side?
Well, they have,
or they made a deal with the devil. Like, they are legitimate, and I don't know how it happened in 2 years.
well, they hacked college football because what they did is basically create a team of 4 and 5 stars that are just all 4 and 5 year players. They're just bigger and tougher.
There
yeah,
you go.
like NFL
And, like,
players. So,
Yeah, NFL guys on that defense. I mean,
Sick
but
Daddy.
Mendoza, like, you look at Mendoza play as he's like a college guy, and he's anticipating every throw. He's seeing over his lineman. It's just like, I'm looking at him, I'm like, that's what, like, Tom Brady, like that Tom Brady, Peyton Manning type quarterback.
He's like a robot, and he talks like a robot.
He was scary
very
accurate in that game. Like, I was like, I've never.
He throws every
seen
ball a
Jalen throw
dime.
like that. Like,
He's an
He
AI
was
quarterback.
he was a softer Heisman we've had in recent years in terms of stats, but I watched that game and I was like, this guy's phenomenal.
Zignetti to the
He's got me
Steelers.
believing that the Raiders can be fixed with him, which says a lot.
they give him AJ Brown. We'll take Crosby.
I'm down.
Everyone's happy.
As long as Mark Davis has that haircut, I don't think the Raiders can. I think there's something cursed with his haircut in that record. I don't think your owner can have that haircut, and you can win games. That's my.
I did see something, speaking of Mike McDaniel, I don't know if this is true, I have to fact check myself, that if he joins and leaves to become a head coach, we get comp picks as well. That's something Howie would love. I thought.
Wait, why? How would that work? Why do we get that? Oh, is it like the NFL gives it to us?
Yeah, compensatory picks or whatever they're called.
Wow.
That's
Third
actually
round
He
good.
is
likes
too.
his comp picks.
That's a good final thought. Like we do have the best GM in the league. I mean, if there's anyone that can navigate and fix this, like some of the issues we're talking about, I think that.
And a very young roster in terms of on the defensive side, which I'm still thrilled about because we turned over a very decrepitly old roster.
Yeah.
Decrepits.
On a positive note, too, no one's won the NFC East twice in a row since 04-05, and we did accomplish that this year. So that was lingering for a while. It wasn't all that bad of a year. We made the playoffs 5 straight years. It's hard to win.
Yeah,
the
but
NFL.
Pat Mahomes made the AFC Championship game like 8 years, and that's what
Yeah.
we're looking for. Is
The standard.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, we're elevating ourselves to that standard. Being the Patriots and being the Chiefs is tough. Like,
Standard.
I hope we can get there. Howie Roseman, though, he's a great GM. He hasn't shown that he can do that, so that's his next step for sure.
You might as well bring back Andy Reid too. Get them all back in there on the sideline with Sirianni.
big reunion. Peterson, Reed,
Bring back
Red.
Buddy Ryan too.
James Thrash,
Big
Rodgers,
balls,
Peterson.
Doug. Big red. Yeah. Wow, man. All right. All right, guys. I think we covered everything we possibly could.